Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Public Works Podcast. My name is Joseph Blackman. Today, I got a real treat for you. Her name is Lori Jones, and she is the environmental scientist at the city of San Diego in sunny California. Lori, say what's up to everybody.
Yay! Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to be here. What are we up to today? We're talking about public utilities. So I'm really excited to, talk about what I do and kind of share my excitement with public utilities.
Sure, sure. And you're in that background. Are you on the beach right now, or is that one of those?
Oh, man, I wish. No, that's just my background so you don't see my messy room.
I love it. Love. All right, so Lori, you're the environmental scientist at City of San Diego. You probably didn't. The 6-year-old Lori might not have known she was going to be doing this at current year 2023 Lori. So let's talk about your trajectory, like what you did when you're growing up, and then what kind of led you into the path of where you're at today.
Wow, so absolutely had no idea I would be at this point, right? So I was born and raised in Chicago and have great roots over there. I was brought up in a middle-class family and have really strong roots to the Lithuanian community. My parents are both from Lithuania, so I've got a lot of those kind of traditions that I still follow. So I was born and raised there. I decided to move out to San Diego by myself, and I went to school at SDSU. I worked my way all through college. I met my husband in a lower division class at Grossmont College when I was taking some classes there. He tapped me on the shoulder for a pencil. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And the rest is history there. We've been married about 30 years. I've got 3 amazing adult children. They're all thriving and doing great. So, it was really hard raising a family. It was, my husband was the breadwinner, and I did go back to school, when they were kind of almost growing up. I stayed home with them for about 10 years and I raised them and I did my best. And like I said, they're doing great. But I decided I wanted to work. I, wanted to be a working person. So I got my credential, teaching credential at San Diego State also. And that was a perfect job with the family because I had, the same schedule as my kids and this and that. So I was always kind of doing stuff for everybody else, nurturing children in the classroom and raising kids and, trying to be a good wife and all that. And, when the kids were getting older, I was like kind of getting a little disheartened with teaching. Thank God I got out before all that Zoom stuff, right? Before COVID, that's
right.
I got out, thankfully. Yeah. It was very kind of by mistake or accident or whatever, fate. I don't know what you want to call it, but I was just kind of like burnt out from teaching, and I did a random scroll on Facebook, and I noticed this Women in Water Symposium. I'm like, what the heck is that? That sounds so intriguing. So I went to it. I got a substitute teacher for the day, and I went to this thing. It was at Cuyamaca College, right here in San Diego, actually like El Cajon area, they call it. And I was so fascinated. All these women in water, it was just all women. And they were talking about what they do for, water departments, water utilities, municipalities. And I was like, whoa, it was like, there's this world of water. This is amazing. So literally the next week, I signed up for some classes there. And I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Because I would go to the classes like Monday through Thursday evening after a full day of teaching. And I was like the only girl in the classes, and they're talking about poop and pumps and pipes. I was like, what the heck? Like, what am I doing here? But with each class, I just learned so much. It was, like I said, it was just this whole other world of stuff, and so I just continued to take the classes, and I really enjoyed them. I like learning, and so I just kept going with that, and I literally had no idea what I wanted to do with water. I was I have to be honest, just kind of floundering, like, what do I do? I was like treading water, if you will. You know, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. So,
Totally.
you know, I just was trying to be patient, and I pretty much applied to everything everywhere. You know, I studied for the T2, did the D2. I didn't take the D2, I took the T2, and I didn't pass by just a little bit. And I was like so discouraged. I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess I can't be a treatment plan operator then, right? Even though I had all the classes. So, but I do have a biology degree, and so I looked into the laboratory technician, and that's what I applied for, and I got. It took me almost a year though. I guess, you know, COVID just was crazy, and you fill out the application and you just wait and you wait and you wait, and it's like, oh my gosh. So I was kind of like starting to get a little discouraged, thinking I'm probably just not going to do this because it's such a journey, and I don't know. But you know, I got my job with the city. I've been working in that position now for 2 years, so I'm a newbie for sure. I work in the public utilities department, city of San Diego. It's really fun what I do right now. I go out and as a laboratory technician, I go out and get samples of drinking water from all different areas of the city, and some really beautiful areas like you see behind me here, like, you know, literally on the beach and up, you know, up tall where you can see all this beautiful scenery. But we also go to some pretty crappy areas too. And, you know, there's a couple times I got a little bit spooked going to some of these seedy areas, or, you know, but that's part of the thing. And so that's our job. And we bring the samples back to the laboratory, and they do, you know, microbiological tests, chemical analyses. So it's pretty cool. And
Okay.
then,
Okay.
yeah. So before this position that I have now, my probationary period was in South Bay Water Reclamation Plant. And that's where I did chemical analyses. You know, I tested the turbidity, I did TSS, TDS, you know, BOD, you know, biological oxygen demand, all of that stuff. So it was very, very interesting. And, you know, I feel so like I won the lottery because, you know, on the job, I learned so much too. You know, you go through all these classes and you learn so much there, but then on the job, you're like, wow, that's so cool how it relates. All these tests relate to like the plant processes and the, you know, all the permits and stuff like that. So very, very cool job I have. Like I said, I feel very, very lucky.
It sounds like it, and I can tell you're happy in it. You know, you're
Yeah.
not like the thrill isn't gone yet. But
Oh
one thing I
no.
wanted to
Well,
kind of
I'm still
park
new.
on,
Right.
one thing I wanted to park on was I think one of the coolest and most intense jobs in the world is what you came from, which is raising, you know, your children. You said you're about 10 years you were staying home, which
Yeah.
I think is a beautiful thing, especially nowadays, and you know, and how much things cost and all that. And you did
Yeah.
that, but you also got a full-time career after that. You went and became a teacher. Now you're in the water. Like, I think that's a true testament on what people can do if they want to get something done. Like if you literally raise your kids and say, you know what, I want to go do something. And so you did it. And now look at you. You're
Yeah.
working at what you're passionate
Well,
about.
it was it was kind of like, you know, I want to do something for me. What am I going to do for me now? I've been looking after kids for so long. Like I'm going to be an adult and do something adult wise, right? So yeah, exactly. To your point, exactly. Yeah.
Sure, sure. And you said you were a teacher also. I always like to ask the question, what's a transferable skill? Like, let's say, what did you learn like in teaching? Because your whole intro, that just sounded totally like a teacher, and I love it. But like, what is something that you learned through teaching that you apply to your current job and what you're doing today?
Oh man, I would say the number one thing is patience. I had to have so much patience with all of my kids, you know, as a teacher, with the parents, oh my goodness, administrators, right? My husband, my own children, right? So that I've definitely carried on to the workplace of what I'm doing now because, you know, you work with so many different people. There's, you know, you've got your, you know, operator guys, you've got your supervisors. It's just like, okay, I'm going to put my patience on today, you know?
Gotcha. Patience, patience. I think that's just a life lesson in general for everything.
For sure.
And so now I need a story from Lori. I need a story of something that went wrong under your watch, what you did to rectify that situation, and then what lessons you learned from it to apply to your future career.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm not really on the job, but when I was taking classes at water studies, there were all of these things I just had no idea about, learning about the infrastructure and the pipes and the valves and the pumps and this and that. And so I really wanted to take all the classes that I could, but there was one that I just probably should not have taken. It was like a cross connection control class, the backflow kind of testing thing. It was so mechanical, and like on paper in the books, I can read about it, I can learn about it, I can understand it, but to actually apply it with all of those valves and the spray. So we have the lab portion, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm the only girl in there, and I don't want to ask for help because it's like, I can do this, right? But so I'm playing with all these valves, and I turn something wrong, and I like spray all of my classmates this way, spray that way, and they're just like, "What are you doing?" And the instructor's like, and they were not happy. And I was like, "I am so sorry. I obviously turned the wrong valve." So yeah, things like that can go wrong. I'm not like the most mechanical, I have to say.
Gotcha. It is cool that you admit that, but I will say this, you said you didn't want to ask for a question, but I'm sure now if you get stuck on something, since you're passionate about it, you go, you know what, let me ask somebody about it. Because that's the cool thing about Publix is that you're not competing with the public works utility next door. You guys are collaborating on just making the world a better place, which I think is cool.
Right.
So let's talk about personal and professional development. You've been at this for 2 years. So how does Lori keep getting better and better every time you show up, whether it's month to month, year to year, day to day? Like, what's your personal and professional development regimen like?
Oh my goodness. So I really enjoy going to all of the like extracurricular professional development things. In fact, just this past Wednesday was the Women in Water Symposium, where I kind of got started, and they had me I was a speaker there, and I got to talk all about my job. And, when I don't know, it's kind of nerve-wracking to be in public, and there's about 200 women there, and I'm on this panel speaking, and that was out of my comfort zone. So I try to put myself in those kind of things because that's how you learn and you grow, right? And so also with these professional organizations, I think that is like key, because you go to these conferences and you go to the lectures, and it's just amazing what you still can learn and what's out there. And also to that point, I've taken webinars during the pandemic because, I just wanted to keep learning. I took online classes. There's so much to learn in this whole, like I call it, the world of water. There's so much. From wastewater, to stormwater, to drinking water. There's so much.
Love it. Love it. There is a lot. There's a lot to learn. And I wish it was all in one place for us to learn it, but we kind of got to piece it together.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. All right. Let's say we asked your husband's best friend, or like your son-in-law or somebody, and we said, "Hey, what does Lori do all day for her community? Like, what does she do? Like, what's her job title? What will people get wrong about answering that question?"
I think that they think that my job is easy, and it's really not. Not now and not when I first started. It was just, I have to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I work until sometimes 5. And so that is a long day. And so, I come home pretty much exhausted, and, my kids, or my husband's, like, "Well, you just got samples today. Like, why is that so tricky?" But it really is, because we have to drive around all day long. We have to, our coolers are really heavy sometimes, and we have to bring those into the lab, and they have to check those in. And then we have data to input when we come back to the laboratory. And so, yeah, I think that they think my job is easy. I think a lot of people in a way think, oh, you're just a lab tech or environmental scientist. That's just so easy. How fun, but it's a lot of work, and it's they're long days.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Let's say you're commissioned to put up a billboard, and this billboard is in the most trafficked area of San Diego. What ask of your community in regards to water would you put on this billboard?
Okay. So I don't know if you've heard of this before, but the city of San Diego had this slogan, toilet to tap. And then that
Okay.
was all over billboards and so everywhere. And I was like, that is awful. Like people, I mean, that's exactly what happens. You flush the toilet and people they don't know what happens, right? But that slogan was very, very awful, I think, in my opinion. So I would like to change that. All the treatment that we do, the water treatment, there's a lot going on there. I would like to call it showers to flowers, because you have
Okay.
that gray water, comes out of the showers, and then they put it out to irrigate all of the plants and the golf courses and schools and all that. So showers to flowers. And I'd like to have a cute little picture with those, and yeah, that's what I would have on the
Okay.
billboard.
Okay. Showers of flowers. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this part of the show, I always like to leave a space for you to thank mentors that you had along your journey, and then also offer a word of inspiration and motivation to your industry counterparts.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, all the instructors at Cuyamaca College in the water studies department, they were really key, because I think that they kind of saw me coming in like a little bit nervous and, this and that. And they were very encouraging. As a matter of fact, one of my instructors, Joe Young, he was just pivotal in helping me. And, he got me involved in AWWA, the American Water Works Association. I didn't know there was all these professional organizations. So he's like, hey, would you like to be the student chapter president? And I'm like, but I'm so glad that he asked me that. And I did that, because again, that was out of my comfort zone, but he pushed me, and I've gotten so much from these professional organizations. So yeah, I'd like to, kudos to those organizations, to my professors. You know, Whenever I work with a new supervisor at the city, they're very patient, and they recommend all kinds of things to learn and to do, and to kind of cross train also. So I'm grateful for that, for sure.
Okay. Okay. What associations are you part of exactly? And then what would you say to I guess, people coming into the industry, and like kind of the value of these associations? Because I mean, whenever I join an association, it's so cool because I get around people who are the type of people who want to learn and want to teach and want to help out, want to collaborate, want to, get around each other and talk about things. So what would you say is a selling point to the associations? And then what other ones are you a part of?
Yeah, so definitely AWWA was, I did a lot for that organization. I got a scholarship through them too to finish my classes. So I'm so grateful to them. CWEA, the California Water Education Association, that's a big one too. I took some webinars from them, and although I didn't take the laboratory analyst exam yet, but their classes I had through them were amazing. They really got me on the right track to, the lab part, like this is what I want to do. And then the Water Education Foundation too is another organization I'm part of. Women in Water for sure. There's a couple of those kind of organizations. I can't remember what the little things stand for, the IWWEE, whatever, there's so many. There's a lot of
So many
acronyms
acronyms.
in
Yeah.
public utilities, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's talk
Um,
about the Women in Water one. So you had an event last Wednesday. Tell us about what happened at the event, and then what it's about, and to other women out there who might want to join, and what you can look forward to.
Yeah, so there's a lot of women out there that I don't think know that they can do this kind of job. We had this one speaker, she was a construction manager and she was just amazing. There's another girl that was there. She was a treatment plant operator and she's going to be supervisor. So, I think that for women out there, yeah, it is kind of male dominated for sure, but that's changing. The trajectory is definitely changing where there's more women getting involved. There's more women in the construction part. I was kind of surprised about that. There's a lot of women engineers. So yeah, I mean, women in water is definitely up and coming. There's this thing they call it the silver tsunami, where there's a lot of people retiring. So they need those positions to be replaced. And so yeah, this Women in Water Symposium at the college, it just really got people involved. And oh my goodness, I have to plug my thing in 1 second. Sorry, it's gonna die if I don't. Sorry, and I meant to do this. I'm sorry. Oh shoot. So yeah, this Women in Water Symposium, it's once a year, and it's just basically giving information out. There's different vendors from other areas. There's like, San Diego County Water Authority, there's Padre Dam, there's all these different other municipalities that are there kind of representing themselves and looking for women and opportunities.
Love it. Love it. Thanks for that answer. So my last question is, if I was coming to San Diego and I text you ahead of time, I say, hey, Lori, where can I get the best burger in San Diego? Where are you going to send me?
Man, I'd love to meet up with you. Well, I'm sure you probably have In-N-Out over there, right? In Arizona?
Yeah, no chains. It's got to be like a mom and pop, a place that no other city state has.
Oh, shoot. I would recommend Hodad's in is that Ocean Beach? Yeah, Ocean Beach. It's like their burgers are they're top notch for sure. Hodad's. Let's go get a burger. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Lunchtime. Let's go.
Well, Lori, on behalf of the listeners, thank you for hopping on the podcast. Thanks for sharing your story, your wealth of information and knowledge. To all the listeners out there, make sure you share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. And Lori, any final words before we get out of here?
No, just thank you so much. And I just have one joke. How about we leave with a joke? Is that good?
Let's do it. Yeah.
You know what? I think I drove my coworkers crazy because I would have a joke every day. They're just like, oh my God. Anyway, but they're like first grade jokes. But anyway, it's okay. That's what I did, right? So what?
Keep it clean. Yeah.
Yeah. What did the ocean say to the lake? Any ideas? What did the ocean say to the lake? Nothing. It just waved.
Okay. Good job.
Sorry, I had to get that in.
Yeah. Back to third grade you go. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. No, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. Sure. This is a lot of fun. And I hope that, other women hear this and just can kind of go for it, right?
Sure. Thanks for hopping on. This has been the Public Works Podcast, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.